Sure, yeah. I met Peter about 26 years ago, so it's been a long time. And the funny thing is that if you ask me which you are, or were able to ask Peter, we couldn't tell you exactly how we met and became such good friends. We knew a mutual person, and so we just kind of started hanging out, and he was just like any other friend. You know, he couldn't walk, but that didn't matter. I mean, we went to the store together. We just did friend things and became really, really close friends.
And whenever you met Peter then, I know you were saying he's from England. Do you know when he first moved to the USA? And can you explain a little bit of his backstory?
Sure, yeah. Now, Peter has a large family. He has his mother, Marion, and his father's name was Jim. And he was born in England. And when he was 7, they moved to the United States. So he has several brothers. There's Peter, James, John, Dirk, and his sister Mary, Kate, and then he had a sister Lizzie who passed away. All of his brothers have served in the U.S. military also. So very big military family. He came over here when he was 7 and joined the military in 1988. He was in the U.S. Army in the infantry, and he fought during Desert Storm and Desert Shield in Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia on the front lines. And he actually did 2 tours and re-enlisted after his original 4 years.
And did he ever talk a bit about his experience when he was in the Army? I'm sure that was a big part of his life.
It was, but I think, as with a lot of our veterans, there are wounds that are seen and unseen and heard and unheard. He did suffer from PTSD, as do so many veterans. And we would talk sometimes about, tell me a story, you know. I know that he was in tanks. He told me that story. I remember that he said when they were going through Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and Iraq, they would throw candy for children, you know, out to them. He was very guarded with some of the things that he said because, like I said, in the infantry, being on the front line in such a conflict wasn't something that he shared a lot. And he always knew that I was happy to listen and talk to him about it when he felt like sharing, and when he didn't, I was there for anything else too. So yeah, we heard what we could hear, and that's how a lot of our veterans are, I think.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, we were speaking of his goal was to become, you know, a U.S. citizen. You know, what did that process look like? Because I know that was something he had wanted for 25, 26 years leading up to until it actually happened.
I was talking to him about that a few weeks ago, and he said, when I joined the U.S. Army, I had several reasons. One was to protect the country that I felt was my home, and one was to become an American citizen. For whatever, and he said, this is my home. This is where I fought for. This is where I will die. This is my home. And it always was, and it always will be. And I felt like it was something very important. And I had tried years ago, you know, just to write some letters, put some feelers out, hey, what does this actually entail? But I didn't follow up, you know, as much as I think I probably should have back when there weren't any health issues going on with Peter. But no, this was always his home, and how he always felt, and all of his family feels the same way.
And, you know, last Friday, were you able to be there whenever he did, you know, become a citizen?
Yes, I was. It was an amazing, amazing day. I want, first of all, Luis Martinez from the San Angelo VA. When I put out my kind of SOS email, when we found out that Peter probably didn't have a long time with us, I got an email response back from him in about 5 minutes. And I was just like, he's like, I will help you. We will figure this out. We can do this. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. And it was piecing things together, calling people, moms, friends, do you have this document? Do you have this document? And Peter wasn't in a place where he was really able to tell me all of that information at the time. I found his birth certificate from England in his safe, and it's actually in little square pieces. it's so old and I was piecing that together along with some of his paperwork. So I would scan and send an email, and Luis and I were back and forth several times a day. Do you have this? I need this right now. Absolutely. Let's figure it out. Let's get it done. And we got everything together, and with the help of Congressman Pfluger and his staff, who were amazing, amazing helpers with this too, we were actually able to get what usually takes at least 2 years to be done in just over a month. And it's an amazing thing that people came together for something like this, for someone that they didn't know, that they would never know. But they heard a call and they saw the need and validated the service that he gave this country, where he fought and could have died for a country that he couldn't vote in, that he wasn't a citizen of. And I am so appreciative to everybody who had a hand in putting all of that together. Peter went downhill really, really fast prior to this happening, not awake very much at all. So when I would go over, I'd update him and I would say, hey, here's where we're at. I just talked to Luis. Here's what we're doing. And I got a call on a Tuesday morning from Luis saying, have you heard? And I was like, have I heard what? He's like, this is happening on Friday. And I was like, Friday, like this Friday. And I went over to tell Peter, and he and his family were just elated, as we all were. And from the time he found out until that Friday, he was up and he was eating an incredible amount of apple pie, which he hadn't eaten in such a long time. I don't know that he believed what was going on. It was hard for any of us to kind of take that into. But Friday, we came in. The naturalization people from San Antonio, they drove up here to do the things that he couldn't do, because it usually requires a face-to-face interview, extensive fingerprinting, all that goes into it. They brought somebody up here to do that from his bedside. And that was, again, an amazing, amazing thing too. And they were able to swear him in on Friday as an American citizen, and they presented him with a flag that had flown over the Capitol, along with some other commendations and certificates, and he became a U.S. citizen on Friday. And he passed away this Monday at about 8:30. And when I say that he told me 26 years ago that his wish was to die as an American citizen, he died as an American citizen.
As a friend of his, watching him finally achieve that goal, how did that feel for you, and to know that you also played a part in making that happen?
It was a long time coming, and I still think there are times when I'm in shock of, oh my gosh, this actually got done. As far as playing a part, the part I played was being a friend, and he did more for me than I could ever do for him. So this is definitely just a very small token of what I could give him from what he gave to me as a friend for so long, and as a service member again for so long. There's no higher honor than being his friend, and no higher honor than him becoming a citizen.
And why did you want to kind of come and tell his story then, continue that forward?
Because it's a story, like I said, that needs to be told. Our veterans have stories, and they're heard and unheard, and wants and wishes that maybe they're not sure how to express, or that they think are possible. Because again, sitting here, I didn't think that this was possible. Luis Martinez was amazed at what came together and how it could actually come together and happen. And so I don't want anybody to feel like this is something unachievable or unattainable. Because sitting here, I still don't believe that it actually happened. But I was there, so I'm pretty sure that it did. and that there's a way to do it and ways that we can reach around and work together, especially for dreams like this. I mean, anybody who has served the United States military, in my opinion, should be a citizen of the country that they fought for if that's what they want. I see that there's definitely a need for that, and an understanding that should come with, if you're willing to fight and die for a country, you should be a citizen. That's enough. I feel like that is so far past any naturalization or citizenship test. That is the test. You have passed with flying colors, and we want you. We are better because of who you are and what you did. And that's how we need to honor you. So just for other veterans to know, if this is something that they would like to achieve, that they can, there are ways, reach out, and it can be done.
Yeah, I know that was something we talked about on the phone too.
Yeah.
Letting veterans know, and yeah, I think being ahead of Veterans Day as well is very timely in the sense that they might need some extra support. So I think this is a good story to get out there and share.
And Luis had asked Peter, when this all started, to be in the Veterans Parade. And we always tried to talk in positives and in affirmations of course he'll be able to do that. Of course he will, and he's not. But I guarantee you that he will be watching from the best seat in the house as a very, very proud citizen at the parade on Saturday.